and put the ball on the ground and compete. But to see a young guy like Trey Smith play as many snaps as he did, playing the whole game. Jay Sean Robinson, first game in there at center for us, did a really nice job. Brett Kendrick, having to bounce over and play left tackle and those things. So having some moving parts and having some guys come through and do some really nice things. The young guy, Josh Palmer, getting out there and playing as much as he did as a true freshman. Seeing some young guys, get out there, get a chance to play, grow up a little bit, and with the cameras on in an environment like that is a plus to definitely keep building on.
Is it as simple as plugging Callaway in for Juwan Jennings' spot now that we know Juwan's out for an extended amount of time, or do you got to change some things?
Yeah, it's just kind of next man up. Next guy up. We talked, last time we were here, talked a little bit about trying to make the receiver position a little more interchangeable with all the pieces that we have. So to have some of those guys step up and be able to move and change spots like that, when that happened was real good for us.
How much will it help the Warriors to get Josh Smith back out there, whether it's this week or next?
Big time. The experience that Josh brings to the table. Played in a lot of games, can play multiple positions. It'd be big for the whole unit.
Coach, the offense scored touchdowns on 5 of the last 6 possessions. Was that a result of you getting in the groove, the players executing better, figuring out Georgia Tech's defense? What do you think led to that?
A combination of that. I think we go out and start the game early and you have some 3 and outs, so you're really not finding a rhythm. But once you're able to establish some drives, get into a rhythm, guys start executing the calls and being out there enough to kind of see what they're trying to do to you to get in the rhythm, it really helps. So it's a combination of all those things.
And did you like what you saw to Darwin in the second half?
Yeah, we really did. And even the first half, kind of just working through, some of the kinks. You're a few catches away from him really finding a groove early and really getting going. So once we started doing that and starting executing a little bit better, naturally he fell into a rhythm as well.
Coach, you guys think your demeanor as a whole helps you in a game like that when they're taking possessions away from you and running the clock and 6 and 7 minutes off at a time?
I would hope so, because all I'm gonna ever be is myself in all situations. Just be who I am, and just football is a game of things can happen real quick. Game can turn really fast. I mean, look what happened to UCLA and Texas A&M. Didn't take very long for that game to turn, and look how it turned in a big way. So football is one of those things. Sometimes it just causes for you to stay patient, stay with the plan, execute the plan, believe in it, get the kids to believe and buy and trust into it. And they did. We didn't go in at halftime and say we have to make a bunch of adjustments. We just have to execute. They believed in the plan. They went out and executed a little bit better in the second half.
Coach, Kelly got 24 touches. Is that kind of the target number for him moving forward? And did you feel like you guys wanted to get him more involved in the second half?
Well, I think it's just kind of how the game started to unfold as far as the rhythm of it and what they were trying to do to us and those things. There's some things that we saw that we could take advantage of truly just in the run game period, no matter what the back was in there. Just so happened J.K. got hot and he was running hard and doing the things that we kind of expect from him week in and week out.
You touched on some of the offensive line. Just kind of overall as a group, how did you assess how they played? It seemed like they got better as the game kind of got going in.
Yeah, I think so, and such as football. When you get a group in there and actually get some continuity going amongst 5 guys and you kind of get into the flow of a game, you would hope that naturally they start to fall into it a little bit better, and they did.
When's the last time you saw a true freshman offensive lineman as good as Trey Smith?
Been a long time, and in everybody's career at some point you run across, you become fortunate to run across a guy like Trey, and I don't think, of course he's physically and athletically gifted, but just the approach towards the game is something that's very rare. He's mature in that way and knows, is learning how to prepare, but wants to learn how to prepare. Nobody's preparing harder this week than he is right now. He's just that kind of kid, and that kind of mentality and that kind of maturity is a very rare thing.
With Drew Richmond back, is the plan to swing Brett Kendrick back to right tackle and kind of go with that veteran line?
Yeah, it'll be a couple of different combinations that we can play with, which is going to help us in the long haul. One of the ways to kind of shore up some of your depth concerns is to have guys that can swing and play multiple positions, and that's what we're having to do right now at that position and with the wide receivers.
What were some of the most encouraging things you saw from Dormady?
Same guy, consistent, poised, kind of just wanted to take the game as it came to him. Really, besides maybe 1 or 2, kind of we call danger throws, kind of put the ball in danger. Just really took the game as it came to him, poised, composed, you know, into it, communicating the way you want to have a guy communicate to, you know, the coordinator between series. So it was really good to have that from him and have him going.
You guys targeted Juwan a lot. I think he had 6 targets early before he went out. Was that by design, or was that some of Quentin's decisions? And how did Georgia Tech defense Jennings?
I think a lot of it is when, you know, you have guys that play the type of coverages Georgia Tech played. When you're the single receiver or the slot receiver, there's going to be situations where the concept call is going to call for you to be the guy probably to be open in the progression. And we didn't want to go into it and say we have to have this X amount of targets, because we were really kind of unsure with how they were going to defend us early. So the first couple series were kind of feel series, kind of seeing, you know, how they were going to play the game, what was going to be their kind of line with some of the formation and personnel groupings that we were giving them to try to kind of get a beat, and when we're able to kind of stay out on the field to get some of those things executed, start to turn a little bit for us.
How did you grade out Marcus Tatum in his first start?
Really well. You know, Marcus did some good things. Now, we're always, as coaches, naturally, we're going to look at the things that we got to get better at and dissect, especially on a short week like this. You got a quick turnaround. It's really about how do we improve and how do we get better. So, but Marcus did some really good things, playing as many snaps as he did. Kind of got leg whipped there in the game and came out, and then, you know, went over and shook it off and came right back in, which was really good to see from him. Being, you know, he's still a young kid. You know, he's big, and talented, and all those things, but he's still young. So to see that kind of mental, you know, that kind of mental toughness to get right back in there and want to go at that time of the game when kind of, you know, the game was hinging and on the line was real good to see from him.
How would you evaluate your first game? Was there anything different, you know, in the moment, calling plays and what you prepared for?
Nah, like I said before, not really. It was just, you know, taking the game as it came. What are they doing? What do we got to do? What adjustments need to be made? It's kind of always the role that I've always been in coaching. So it was kind of just, you know, another football game. Let's go to work, and we're already going to work on Indiana State. So, you know, it's kind of Groundhog Day. Repeat. Let's go.
How concerned are you about the slot position and what's going on with Tyler Bird?
You know, I'm not sure what's going on with Tyler. I kind of let the medical people handle that. They tell me who's available, who's not, and we move on. So, you know, as we get closer to the game, we'll kind of find out what his status is going to be with Tyler.
And who else can play there? And we used to look at tight ends and running backs.
Yeah, I think that's the you know, kind of the beauty of our system is having the ability to put different guys by personnel groupings in the slot to get some of the same things done in the offense. That's really the big thing. The slot position is we can shore that up with some of the things we do offensively.
Was there any consideration to play JG in the first half, and what kind of went into the decision to kind of stick with what you guys were doing?
Well, I think the plan was to go in. Once we said that we were going to roll with Quentin, he was the quarterback, and we were going to go and let the game, you know, come to him and let him go out and be the quarterback for the University of Tennessee. JG is going to have to always be ready to play. Always be ready to play. He's going to have to always prepare and approach the game like he's a starter and be ready to go in at a, you know, drop of a dime. We all know football turns really quickly, so he's just got to always be prepared and be ready to go.
Marquez said yesterday just because Juwan isn't on the field anymore doesn't mean he's not going to be a presence in the wide receiver room. How can he best help this team moving forward?
Some of the things that he had already started doing. Juwan is a leader, too, of those guys. You know, from a standpoint of just the way he knows the offense. He's a football sponge. He loves to talk ball and those type of things. So having him in there to you know, be with those guys in, you know, meeting rooms or whether it's on the field to work with their technique and their fundamentals, and just to continue to provide that leadership that you want from an older guy in a room like that with a few young kids.
Thanks, Coach.
All right, guys. Thank you.